Hi, and welcome to the tutorial for the challenge It's the Final Farm Down on the Age of Empires Online Beta. The important thing to remember here is you always want your town center producing workers until you hit the appropriate supply. So the first thing you do is send your workers to harvest berries and queue up 2 workers from your town center. Then send your scout out to find the cows on the map. There are 4 cows on the map, you only need to find 2 of them. On this video I screw up and don't find the cows until late, even though they're sitting right next to my base. You can see them in the camera there. Now here I'm following my scout around with my camera, while at home my town center is queuing workers. Now what I do often is check back on my town center and see the progress on the workers. You can also see that on the lower left hand corner. You can center on your town center really quickly using the default hotkey of C, or you can use a control group, which is what I like to do. Now look at my supply. I'm getting close to 10 supply. That's an important number because when you get to 10 supply, you want to select 4 of your workers and start harvesting wood with them. You want to build a storehouse next to the wood and then shift click and follow it up by building wood, or by harvesting wood. Here I just find the cows and send them over to next to my town center. And now I'm also getting ready with my workers to harvest those cows when they get there. I also screwed up a little and my town center was not building anything right now. You can cut another few seconds off your time if you aren't dumb like me. I find the remaining 2 cows on the map and send them over to my town center, even though they aren't necessary. Right now I have 5 workers harvesting food, and the rest of my workers are harvesting wood. You only need 5 workers on food with your cows right next to your town center. Every other worker can be queued or rallied to the wood from your town center so that they immediately start gathering. Now notice my supply is getting close to 15. 15 is when you want to stop making workers and just gather the food necessary to get to age 2. And once you get the 200 food required to get to age 2, you want to stop gathering food entirely and just send every worker to gather wood. Also, something to note is that when you get close to 200 food, you can select all your workers that are gathering food and manually send them to return food. You'll see me do this when I get to about 185. I'll just select all my workers and force them to return and then send them gathering wood. This is the part in the video where pretty much nothing happens. Let me talk about my equipment a little. My workers are using a quest hammer, so it's nothing special. It's a green quest hammer. And they're also using Apprentice Mason Phylon, which is the advisor you get from the Advisor Hall quest. He reduces build time and cost of buildings by 8%. Here I send all my workers to gather wood, and I micro them a little because the AI can be kind of dumb and send your workers to weird locations. Occasionally your workers will try and walk around to the other side of the trees to gather, so you don't want them to do that. Now, because I have the advisor, the cost of farms is 92 wood instead of the standard 100 wood. So multiplying that by 10, I want to gather 920 wood. And once I do that, I can queue up 10 farms and send every worker to build those. Now here I'll do the same thing I did with the food. When I get close to 920, I'll select all my workers, manually force them to return their current load, and then I'll queue up all my farms. I queue up all my farms by holding shift and then building the farms and then clicking in a big row. Now here you want to micro your workers a little bit, because what happens is after a worker finishes a farm, when they're shift queued like this, one of them will stay behind to gather from that farm. You don't want to do that. You want all your workers building the farm, so you have to keep forcing them to stop gathering and start building. And now here I'm almost done. Just keep forcing those workers to build. And just like that, I beat the quest with 8 seconds left.